What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today we have receipts for Starfield, and I have to say, look what the haters have done. It seems like in their bid, for the most part, to disparage this game, they have inadvertently put this game on what I think is one of the top buckets that it can actually be put on for 2023. Now, we're going to look at the receipts. We're going to look at the data. But I wanted to go ahead and actually kind of set up a few things so that you guys can see exactly what I mean by, some of what we're going to be talking about today. I remember December the 18th, this individual here put up a post, Nick Tech. I used to feel bad for Starfield. Now I feel bad for people that bought this game. He cited a Luke Stevens video. Many of you know how I see Luke Stevens right now. As a person, he may be a wonderful individual. I think he and I might be able to sit down for beers or whatnot. But what he did with Gotham Knights and the way he pretty much disparaged the game when he didn't take the time to know what he was talking about, I don't think I can actually take anything he says about a video game, with any value at all. I just have to say that. However, I go ahead and I say this, and I replied to Nick Tech. I said, Starfield is so bad, people can't stop talking about it. This game has now started taking in sales from endless criticism. Y'all are driving curious players to check it out. You'll be waking up to sales numbers you won't believe pretty soon. Wasn't that what happened to Cyberpunk 2077 before its rework? And so people came out and said, sales, the game is dead, my guy. Skyrim has more players. People like making fun of the game, not playing it. And I laughed. I said, the game is dead? How do you mean in context of a single-player game? This happens in single-player games, like I said. Don't forget Cyberpunk 2077. And the reason I cited Cyberpunk is because Cyberpunk, as of January of 2023, it had lost basically almost all of its player base within a month of when the game was released. So this is why I was citing the example that you don't necessarily have to use player count as something. And so this was very interesting when this conversation went on because I just said to myself, man, I haven't played a lot of these single player games, but it was really funny and really interesting to see the way a lot of people were treating, my comments. Somebody over here even says, bro, stop bouncing on this game's nuts. It's dead, man. Man, I really hope these people can actually come and eat the crow that we're about to serve this evening because you guys were talking a big game back then. I just hope that you guys are actually capable of coming to terms that the reality of the way they see video games on Twitter, on YouTube, is not the way gamers who actually are purchasing games see games. I talk with a lot of gamers. I game in clans and within communities of, people who are in the demographics of where games like Starfield and the Elder Scrolls will be targeting. And for the most part, many of them just play the games that they freaking want to play without anybody else's input. They're grown men and women. They don't give a hoot what you think about a video game. They're going to go play a game if they want to play it. Hence, the best of 2023 list on Steam. Remember when we were saying that Starfield from the Steam Spy, SteamDB list was one that sold very well? Well, apparently, based on a random categorization, and Steam has done this in a randomized way, Starfield made its way in the top-selling games by gross revenue and is in the platinum category. Now, this is actually randomized because they don't want you to know who's the top selling game. In fact, if you scroll all the way down from platinum all the way to the other categories, you'll see exactly what they've said. They've said revenue specifics are not disclosed for games on any of these lists. So we group them together into randomly sorted buckets to give an idea of how they all stacked up. So pretty much platinum is 1st through 12th, gold is 13th through 24th, silver, bronze. And Starfield basically is one of the highest grossing games in 2023 on Steam, put in the same bucket as Call of Duty, Apex Legends, Lost Ark, PUBG, and Counter-Strike 2. So, for those of you who were saying this game is dead, I wonder what it is that you actually meant by that, because the reality is the data has always been right there in front of you. You just chose to put on blindfolds because you have an animosity towards the advancements that are being made on the other side of the whole gaming space that you don't want to involve yourself in, or maybe you have your reasons, or maybe you just didn't know. I usually try to give people the benefit of the doubt because I think it's good to do so. However, whenever people are feigning ignorance and people are actually throwing shots at you, that's when you know you're onto something. So by the way, let me throw something out there. When you see people going after you, when you see people insulting you, saying things like "stop bouncing on this game's nuts," or saying things like "you have problems, man. I've played New Vegas, Skyrim Oblivion, and Fallout 4. Starfield is the worst among them for so many reasons." I hadn't played a single one of any of these games. Fallout 4 I played for like 20 minutes and that was it. I haven't played any of the Fallout games ever at all, except that small 20-minute block, maybe more than 20 minutes of Fallout 4. And Bethesda games never really did appeal to me. However, Starfield being a space, punk game, space nerd game with a little RPG sprinkled therein, I thought this was actually a phenomenal concept. It launched as a full-fledged game. It did what No Man's Sky was not able to do at launch. And right now, the developers are basically committing to six-week updates of this game for the rest of the year. This is why I mute people like Nick Tech some days, because some days this gentleman or whomever is running the account will be sensible, and then some days they'll come out here and talk all kinds of nonsense because you think sheep are really the people that make the decisions altogether. Many gamers are, in my own opinion, very reasonable people. Sure, if a game is something they don't like, they want to make the judgment themselves. They don't need somebody sitting on a mic or somebody that's, on some social media platform telling them what to play or what not to play. Or they don't even care about our opinions, to be very honest. And so one of the things is, if people actually pay attention to you, what I recommend to all these people who have a platform is, I recommend that you be honest. I recommend that you try your best to be objective. I recommend that you value their time and you value the attention that they're giving you and give them the truth. Try to find opposing opinions to what it is that you believe or what it is that you sense. At the end of the day, what's going to happen is crow's going to be stuffed in your face and you're going to look like, you were either being dishonest because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying this because this was always here in front of us. This is not new. This information that I'm showing right now is no surprise to anyone who had access to a simple internet connection, anyone who had access to what was going on. Let me give you the lowdown. If your videos are highly critical about video games and the art and to what it is that they present and all of these different factors, it's easy for people who are on the internet looking for something to actually, in my opinion, maybe complain about. It's easy for them to be able to find you. It's easy for them to be able to gravitate towards you because you're sitting there and you're complaining instead of creating. You say you're a content creator, but what really are you making? And I'm even asking myself, like, we, in quote, content creators, what are we actually doing, compared to those who are actually making the entertainment that if it wasn't for this entertainment pieces, we will not get paid. If these lists of video games disappeared right now, many of us would not have a platform or whatever it is, but we call ourselves content creators. I think we're fortunate people because we just sit here and we just blab and people click on our videos. We are the most fortunate. People put sweat and blood into these projects. And this is why I don't play around with them. This is why I don't come out here saying all kinds of, nonsense anymore. I used to actually whine and complain and talk crap about video games whenever they did things I didn't like. But, if it's not like a game that's wanting to gouge my pockets or a game that I can see ads for, I can see everything that the game is about. I can go get a Game Pass subscription and test out the game and be like, I don't like it. I just, for the most part, say, well, okay, this is what it is. And I criticize what it is to criticize. But I don't sit there fantasizing about how the game is failing or how the game is dead or how the game is not going to thrive and all of this stuff as you've been seeing. This is why Starfield continues to trend on Twitter and on all of these social media platforms because it's crazy. Could it be that this particular game has been, in my own estimation, what I think, this game has basically broken a lot of people because it did not appear on the PlayStation platform, or because it somehow entered the hands of Xbox when somehow it was already kind of rumored that it was going to be a PlayStation exclusive, because this was what it was going for. In fact, if what we're seeing as a truth, anyone who's on the PlayStation side who may think Starfield is not up to whatever it is you may think as quality, or you have like you look down on the game because maybe check and see why we're where we are. This is something that was expressly caused by PlayStation. They wanted to hold this game down They wanted to hold this game down as a timed exclusive. One more timed exclusive in their pockets. And people come out here saying all this mostly, you see the mostly negative reviews. They're hammering down on it. What they don't realize is negative reviews at this time played equals the sales. You don't have... I don't know what else to say, man. But, it is what it is. I'm hoping that people are going to get some sense and, be able to kind of look at details. All of this stuff has been there, for the most part. And if anybody wants to know the truth, they'll know the truth. And I think that's the best way to go. But if people don't want to know it, then it's their own business. They're going to continue to look like they're disingenuous overall. But again, we now have the details that we need. We know exactly where Starfield ranks in regard to the sales and in regard to, gross revenue. There's no denying right now that a lot of these people are, they are unhinged. And I think we as a gaming, community, and we're a loose community for the most part. I'm not saying like we're holding hands singing Kumbaya. I think we need to start filtering some of these folk, out of just what we listen to, because we won't get the we won't get the truth. We won't get the data. And it's frustrating. I don't know. It is. Don't you think it is? I think it is. I think somebody that sees, data and evidence and decides that they're going to tout things otherwise because of how they feel. I just feel like, if you have maybe that's what it takes to have a platform that's big. Maybe you got to, maybe somebody's got to be making up random stuff that's sensationalized to be able to grow a subscriber count. It's shameful, though, if that's the way things have got to go, because at this point in time, I might as well just quit YouTube because it's weird, man. But again, I'm not quitting YouTube. I think it's nice to still be here and try to, make sense of what's going on in gaming, because it's a lot of fun. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you guys so much. Appreciate you listening to my rant. Peace out.